Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to discuss heart rate training. The reasons why, what it is, and how we do it. A question was presented about the benefits of heart rate training, and we want to address that within this video. So what is heart rate training? Basically, it's exactly what the title says. Training using your heart rate. Understanding where you need to be training for certain intensities for the stimulus that you want to get and the result you want to get. For instance, an aerobic exercise should be done at a certain intensity, maybe 70 to 80% of your heart rate max, to be able to sustain that for a prolonged period of time, 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes. An anaerobic exercise would be an example of a basketball game or a soccer game. The heart rate elevates very high, and then you have valleys, so peaks and valleys within the heart rate. Big increases, and then it drops down and recovers. Both of those are important to train at because you need to be able to adapt to both of those in any situation. The way we train cycles through low intensity, medium intensity, and then high intensity days so that you can get the effects of each one of those, get the necessary recovery, and then see your fitness progress. And you start to see the results in your body. So the difference between anaerobic and aerobic it's a very complicated essentially question, but to answer, what we want to focus on just two very simple basic physiological effects, right? One is that you are using oxygen within your metabolic cycle during aerobic exercise, and then you're not using oxygen in the anaerobic state. Both have their necessary places in a training program, and both should be trained at. You need to be able to train at a long duration and aerobic exercise and keep the intensity lower while the volume is a lot higher, and you need to be able to hit those peaks and valleys for anaerobic training as well. So aerobic training typically, they say, will burn fat as its energy source because oxygen typically will initiate the metabolic cycle. Oxygen in the blood will initiate the metabolic cycle that will use fat as its energy source. You must deplete all the carbohydrates, so there's a balance there. Maybe 85-ish% of your energy comes from fat stores, and 85, and then the rest of that 15 is from carbohydrate stores. And it switches back and forth throughout the program. But for this sake, we're just going to say it's very simple. It's a fat burning zone, right? And then anaerobic. Now, the confusion comes in when you say, oh, I'm going to do aerobic exercise to burn fat. It doesn't work that way, right? Because these are not cut and dry. Your body doesn't turn a switch and say, all right, I'm not going to burn any fat anymore. No. The intensities that you train at only allow you to, if you train at a higher intensity, it only allows you to go for a certain amount of time before you get exhausted, right? And then you need to back off. So when training at high intensity, you shorten the duration, shorten the volume, and we can get those big peaks and then use a lot of energy to get there, but then also a lot of energy to get back down to your recovery rate. The faster you get back down to recovery rate, that means that your body is able to acclimate to high intensities better, which is awesome for people that have heart conditions. So we want to be able to get there and then drop that off quickly when we stop exercise. So the anaerobic state typically uses carbohydrates. It's a totally different cycle, metabolic cycle. And from there, we just want to make sure that we can get that recovery we need. That's why we do interval training. Over the duration of maybe 36 to 48 hours after interval training, we see that the body has an increased metabolic rate, right? And you continue to burn more calories because of that workout. So typically we want to look at training at a higher intensity, a few days more, while using those cardio days as recovery or longer duration days to again, get that capacity in there. The difference again with aerobic and anaerobic, typically aerobic exercises will increase the amount of blood vessels within the body. There are bigger oxygen uptakes in anaerobic exercise because you're just essentially breathing heavier, you're intaking more oxygen, there's more filtration in the lungs. So there's lots of physiological effects for both. Again, we set them up so that we cycle through high, medium, and low intensity days so that you don't overtrain and you get the necessary stimulus and your body constantly works to progress itself forward. That's all I'm going to say about heart rate training. If you guys want to have a deeper conversation about it, let's talk about it in the comments. Pose some questions, we'll send some articles back and forth, and we can get a little bit deeper into the topic. Hope you guys are having a great day, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.